welcome you to this video tutorial. Thank you for showing an interest in finding out how it's made. My name is Natalie O'Shea and I'm happy to share with you this card, which when you open it produces the wow of calling it a pop-up panel card. Now these have been around the internet quite a while and I just thought I'd share with you the instructions on how to make it. I think it's a great mail card. I've done this as a Happy Father's Day card, but you could of course change the sentiment to anything you wanted to. So should we get on with it? Okay, so let's show you how we made this card. It's made using a base card that opens that way of Delightful Dijon, is the card colour. We've then got a panel of just some basic black cardstock. We've got some pattern paper from our new Urban Underground Designer Series paper there. It's actually a speciality paper because it's got the silver foil in it. Love it. And then we've got some more different pattern paper from the Urban Underground set. Then we've got some silver foil that's been cut out by a framelit die, some more of the underground paper cut out with the same set of dies, a circle punch, which I could have used the dies for, but I've actually used a punch. I'm very much a punch girl. And then a sentiment on the front. Now obviously this one says Happy Father's Day, but it could be any shape. You could have another circle, you could have an oval, you could have an oblong or a flag going across the centre, and it could say happy birthday, congratulations, thank you, anything you like. And whilst this is kind of themed as a mail card, doesn't have to be. I love these colours, they're right up my street. So then you open it up and you've got this central panel here. So this is black, it's separate to the card's blank itself. Got some more pattern paper. You've then got a device here. Now there's various different ways of doing these pop-up panel cards, but this, as I'll show you, has one piece of card, which is the same piece of card, comes all the way down here, goes all the way across there for the mechanism, and comes all the way down the bottom here as well. So just a separate decorative piece of card there to write your message, another piece of decorative paper there, and then you've got 4 panels that come out. Again, they're on a separate piece of this Delightful Dijon card. You've got the silver foil, and then these letters are stamped and cut out by hand. Don't do that very often, I tell you. You've got a "You're the best." Now you could say "You're the best, Dad," or "Dad, you're the best." Up to you entirely what you want to do. And then some fab embellishments there as well to finish off that. And I've put a sentiment down there, so up to you what you want to do. So let's get going, shall we? So first of all, I got a sheet of A4 Delightful Dijon card. I just cut it straight down the middle, horizontally or long vertically, whichever you like, to create my card blank. So that's my card blank. And some people tend to score down the middle. I find every single time I try and do that, doesn't matter how hard I try and measure properly, still doesn't work properly. So for me, I fold the card over and use my bone folder to just enforce that fold. It's perfect. There we go. Base card done. I then pre-cut a piece of basic black. I don't know if you can see this on here or not, I've written it on for my benefit. It's actually 10 centimetres by 13.8 centimetres, and that goes on there. Piece of pattern paper. Now I've picked a different one out of the set just to mix things up a little bit. Again, this is some of the designer speciality paper. It's got that silver foil, I hope you can see that twinkling there. And that goes on there. That is 9.5 by 13.3. They're all just in half a centimetre increments down from the base card, so you've got this very thin border. If you like bigger borders, you can sit there and do a centimetre down if you want to. Entirely up to you. There we go. And then I've got a strip of this pattern paper. I've done this a little bit beforehand, just so you can see. This strip is actually 5 by 13, so 5 centimetres wide by 13 centimetres down. And I've got this fab punch. Now, of course, you could sit there and trim that with a pair of scissors up there, up there, up there. But when there's a punch to do things, why would you? So just slide that in through the, so it's middle, in the middle. And punch. Perfect. There we go. So, throw that away. Great punch. Triple banner punch. So that gives me my flag going down the centre. So the Stitched Shapes framelit dies are one of the newest framelit dies that we've released, and I love them. I mean, whilst we do framelit dies that are plain circles, plain squares, etc., this set actually has some circles. Let me put those back on there. There we go. So 4 circles, 4 ovals and 4 squares, and they've all got this tiny stitched detail going around the edge, which just adds a little something else. Now, I put my framelit dies on magnetic sheets, so yours won't come just like this, but they're very, very similar. So I've used the largest die on this silver foil, and I'll show you how I got that effect on the silver foil in a second, but that's the largest one. And can you see that stitch detail going around the edge there? Just adds a little something. So that's the largest circle. And then I've got pattern paper here, and again it's got the stitched going around it there. Hope you can see. Okay, so how did I make that hexagon 3D effect on that silver foil? How fab is that? Let me show you. So here's what the silver foil normally looks like. Card on one side and the silver foil on the other, and this is a fabulous new embossing folder. They're called dynamic embossing folders. They really give a great 3D effect, as you saw. But let's just say, so we just put the silver foil in between the embossing folder, and you get your die cutting machine, embossing machine, whatever you've got. I'm using a little Texture Boutique there. Let's pop it through there, come out the other side so you'll see it. Just twist, 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 twist. Let's say whichever device you've got. There we go, out it pops. I only need 1 plate with these because they're so thick, much, much thicker than a normal embossing folder. And there you go. How amazing is that? If you like white, there's the other side. So you could do either. But just look at that. Amazing. So again, I just used the large framelit die. Once I'd embossed it first, and then I cut it out. And that gave me my circle. So going back to this, let's stick it down now quickly. So I'm a lover of snail glue. Stick that down there. Then that. Then we'll try and get it centre. This one's not so bad because you can count 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in. We're pretty much central, and you can line it up there. Okay, so a bit more snail on there. Again, you can decide whether you want it higher up, lower down. I just go for simple, straight in the centre. So there's that. I've actually added some 3D dimensional, or dimensionals as we call them, but 3D dimension foam pads, and I'm going to add the pattern paper to that. I've got some black cardstock. You can already see I've used it. Now I use all my punches upside down so I can actually see what I'm doing, and don't want to waste any paper. So we get, there we go. That's a 2-inch circle punch, by the way. So again, I just snail that to the centre. And then I'm going to choose a slightly different sentiment for you today. So we've just launched the Spring Summer catalogue, and one of the best sets in there, Bang Crash, Urban District. It goes with the suede that goes with the pattern paper. So Urban District, you've got a D and an A, and obviously if you want Dad, just use the D again. Somebody did ask me where the other D was. But here's a You're the Best. Here's where the world's greatest came from. You'll always be number one. So that could be a Valentine's card. It could be a birthday card. It could be a just because card. But the only thing better than having you as my dad is my children having you as their grandfather. And I know you loved me as long as I've lived, but I've loved you my whole life. Oh. So I thought I'd use the You'll Always Be Number One for this. And so I used the delightful Dijon ink. Now with Stampin' Up ink pads, they're always stored upside down. So if you push them away from you and flip them over, it's so that the ink is always at the top. And I know sometimes our ink pads can be a little bit inky. I think they go a little bit over the top in the warehouse sometimes, or maybe with all the travelling across from America, it makes a difference. If it is a little bit too wet and it's all coming out a bit splodgy, then just a bit of kitchen roll, just put over, press it down lightly and lift it off. It will lift off any excess. So there we go. So the You're My Number One is there. I'll do some stamping for the inside, but obviously use a clear block because these are clear mount stamps, and we'll use, as I say, delightful Dijon. I've got a bit of scrap paper here. Here's some I made earlier. So just a light tap. You don't have to push it too hard. You're not going to try and reach the floor. And there we go. Now, we do dies that cut these out, but sometimes, there we go. You see on there, it's actually, this is part of the design. So if you sit there and think, oh, it's missed a bit, it's not come out right, it actually has. Stampin' Up details on red rubber stamps are so precise. You have to sit there and go, oh, is that me or is it not? That's actually part of the design. It's a little bit distressed, shall we say. So there's our stamp. And here's one I've made earlier. And I was just going to show you that you don't, it's straight lines. I can just about cut straight lines. But I just go slightly right of that. Let's see that there. There we go. Straight line. And again, just a straight line. And that's it. So that's my sentiment for this card. Let's get that out of the way. And I'm going to use some dimensionals again. And you don't, well, you can put 20 on if you want to, but you don't need to. On something like that, I'll put 2 on. Or is this where I tell you, no, use 20? So you'll get rid of yours quicker. So You'll Always Be My Number One. There we go. So we'll put that in the centre there. There we go. And that's the front of your card already done. But of course, it's missing a little something. And it's also quite heavy on the front. All those layers mean that it could sort of topple over. It's not too bad for this sort of card opening this way. But let's put some weight behind the centre. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go on to make the inside of the card. So this is going to be making this black section here that's the actual pop-up bit there. So this is what it looks like. So this is what we're going for, and it folds like that. So you're looking for something that's going to have a point and is going to fold like that. So to give you an idea, from an A4 piece of paper, that's what we're going to be cutting out. We're going to be cutting it and folding it from that piece. So I could show you on black, but you wouldn't see anything. So I'm going to show you on a piece of cream. and I've actually started. So what we're doing is this A4 piece of paper, we're going to draw a line down the centre. So that is 30 centimetres across, or just under, so 14.75. I actually drew my line down there, and going across 10.5 is where I drew my line across there. Now with this horizontal line, as it is here, you're not going to use this line for folding. This will be a fold line, but that one won't, so we will rub that out in a bit. Now, as you saw, we're only using that so that we can get these parts here central on the card, because it needs to be central. That's why we're using it as a guide. So that is 9.5. You have a template for this, so if you go and download the template, it's got all the measurements everywhere for you, so you can't really go wrong, or you could even trace it if you wanted to. But so what I did, I wonder if you can see that, let's do it that way. So it's 9.5 centimetres wide. So again, 4.75 is where I put the central line, and I marked it there and I marked it there. Did the same on the other end, and therefore just drew a line all the way across there, and again down here. So again, once we've done that, we can now rub that out. I'm only telling you this, or showing you this bit, because I forgot to do it and folded it once. Couldn't work out why I had a great big fold going down the middle. So if we get rid of that, there we go. You can still have your bit there. There we go. So now to get these bits here, we're going to do 2 centimetres each side of this line. So there's 2 centimetres, there's 2 centimetres. Then I'm going to go down, and on here needs to be 3.5 each way. So there's the 0 and over to 7. I also want them to be marks 5 centimetres as well, so marking it at 5 and 10. So just go through that again for you. So 2 centimetre in the centre line, 0 and at 4, so it's 2 centimetres each side. Going down, this needs to be 3.5, which then makes that 7, and going across, where am I going, to 5, and marking the 0 and marking the 10. So this goes to the 2 centimetre dot, goes across to the 3.5, like that. And again for here, 2, oh, let's not do the 5, 2 and the 3.5, like that. So just again, the 2 and the 3.5. And then these 5 centimetre dots, you're going to link up. So across, just make a cross. You're going to know you've got it right. In case you went like that, it wouldn't go in the centre, wouldn't cross in the centre, so you know you've got it wrong. So there we go, look, spot on. There we go. And then what you're going to do is cut out those 4 bits there. Just bringing you back. You can use a trimmer, and if you're not very comfortable with cutting straight, then feel free. But for the speed at which I can do this with a pair of scissors, I'm quite happy to do that. So recognise that shape? Looking very much like we need. Now again, so these are fold lines, so this one isn't. So let's rub those one out, and you'll see I've marked it on there as leave on your template, but they're not fold templates. Fold lines. So this is a fold line down here, that's a fold line, and that's a fold line. So as I say, you can use your trimmer if you've got a scoring blade in there, or again, just a simple bone folder and a ruler works for me. All you're doing is breaking down the fibres to make it just fold a little bit easier. So going across the lines. So when you fold, it just goes a little bit easier. You could try and do it without, but you get all over the place, I think. So there we go. So again, bone folder by the ready, making sure that that lines up. There we go. That's one fold done. We then want to fold across there, which again just goes because you've scored it across there, and one more. Whee, there we go. There we go. One more across there. So that's what you end up with. And what you want to do is hold these. These want to be mountain folds. So you want to pinch them in between your fingers and push them in, because that, again, just make sure you're matching up. And then again, bone folder. Now this is going to be stuck, so you can be as rough as you like with that. There we go. So forget the marks. There's our bit. How cool is that? So we now want to put our piece in the centre of here. Now here's the black one. Here's one I made earlier. And then I've put some snail on there. Now it's going to be going in that centre line there, but you want it even either side as well. So just make sure it's in that fold, and there we go. And then once you've done that, again, a bit more snail. And rather than pushing that up to that, what I do is bring the card down to, and it will go automatically where it needs to go. Ta-da! How cool is that? There we go. So let's go on to the next part. So for the next part, which is this section that goes across here, you need a piece of, I've got Delightful Dijon. It's 7 centimetres high and 28, that's, they're obviously squares, so 7 by 7, so 7, 14, 21, 28. Doubted myself for a minute there. So 28 by 7. And then you just need to score 7, 14, 21 and leave your score line. So 1, 2, 3. And how you're going to fold it is you're going to, the centre one needs to be a mountain. So if you fold that one first, you fold it in half and again bone folder it. Then pull that up, bone folder it, pull that down, bone folder. And then you've got your panel and you've scored it, so you've got 4 times 7 squares. Then you need to get some more of your silver foil that you've done with the hexagon embossing folder. These are 6.5 by 6.5, so again just that magic 1/2 centimetre just goes there and leaves a small border. So let's just go through those. There we go. And marvellous. So that's your 4. Whoop. It goes like that. So then I've put Dad on mine. Now again, I've used Very Vanilla cardstock, and I've used the stamps there. I mean, look how intricate that design is. How clear the images are. There's the stamp there, but lots of cameras and pencils and rulers and ties and moustaches and things like that. So great. So that's D, that's the A there. And then again, I just cut these out by hand again. So just leaving that little border and just going round. Sometimes I'll cut it like that and go round. Always move the paper, keeping your scissors still. That was a trick I was always told. So move the paper, not the scissors. And that should keep it more stable and more precise. So there we go. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, that's all very well, but how did you get the centre out? Well, back in the day, before dies and things like that, we used to use an X-Acto knife, a craft knife, whatever you want to call it. And I did, on this occasion, go down by hand and just cut it out. So you do need a steady hand. And you know what, if you're not confident enough, it looks perfectly fine with the centre in, but you can go through, and there's my dad there. So I stuck those. I don't need to show you how to stick those, do I? Stuck those on there. And then on another separate piece, I did the You're the Best stamp. And then I used the bunch of banners. There you go, bunch of banners framelit dies. And here's one I made earlier. So I did the You're the Best, just stamped it again with the delightful Dijon ink. And that die, so you can either have it going that way, or I had it that way. Just use your die cutting machine to cut that out. And then here's one we have earlier. So You're the Best. So to be put, there we go. Lots of different labels and banners on there. Great set. Now what you'll also find is, oh there they are, something I made earlier. These great Urban Underground embellishments. They're already got adhesive on the back, so self-adhesive, and just great shapes. Love stars anyway. Put some sort of screw heads and some hexagons. So we could put hexagons. In fact, let's put some hexagons. Now I'm a tweezer girl, so I'll always put mine on with tweezers. So put one like that, and one like that. If you want to see what the screw heads look like, there you go. Love those two. So here we are with the letters. Obviously, if you've got a 4 named person, Dave would go across there. Mick would go across there. There's various things you could do. You don't have to have letters. And again, you could have different pictures and things like that anyway. So perhaps their interests or things like that. So that's how it goes. So now we need to pop it on here. Now what I've also done is these sections here, and obviously the black was 9.5, so again going down in a ½ centimetre increment. So this is 9 centimetres, this up to here is 9 centimetres, but going up the middle is 13.5 centimetres. So from there to there, 13.5, 9, 9, 9. And that's it. So I've changed it round slightly. I've used a different pattern paper on the bottom there, same pack, Urban Underground, and put this up here. So you could put your greeting up here, you could put another panel down here, and write your sentiment there. It's entirely up to you. Now what I've also done here is stuck a bit, because I want you to see clearly where the glue goes, because this has obviously got to go on here now. And if you can see where the yellow is, so that section there only, and that section there only. So just a bit of snail there. Now, if I was to put this exactly where that was there and that was there, you couldn't really read the middle. So you want it to go a little bit flatter. So it doesn't have to go in the corner, but do one bit first. So you want it level. It's always good to use the lines of grid paper. So I want it to be like that. So there's my first one going down, and then that looks how I want it there. So again, just pressing those 2 panels there, and then you cross your fingers and hope, ta-da, that it works. So give it a bit of a squish down, and look at that. World's greatest dad, you're the best. There we go. And there we go. All done. I hope you have liked this tutorial. So you've got that one there, and you've got that one there. So 2 same pattern paper packs and things like that. One Father's Day card, one You'll Always Be My Number One, which I say could be Valentine's. And can't open them with both hands. There we go. So thank you for joining me for this tutorial. You'll see your template on the same page where you can get for the intricate inside bit, which has got all the measurements on for you, so you should have no problems. If you have, then come back to me. I'm happy to help. As I say, my name's been Natalie O'Shea. My website is www.natalieoshea.co.uk, and I'd love to see more of you. I do frequently update my blog, which you'll find on there, www.natalieoshea.co.uk/blog, or you can just get to it through my website. You can also shop online. If you've liked the products that I've used here, seen how wonderfully it all coordinates together, then I'd be more than happy to supply you with your craft fix of Stampin' Up goodies. So you can also see on my website there where to get them from. I'd love to hear if you've loved this tutorial and how you get on, and if you can share with me a card that you've made. Hopefully, you know, this is just basic instructions. You can obviously change the sentiments, the colours, anything you want. This was more about the technique of how to make the pop-up panel card, and I'd love to see what you do with it. Until next time.